Welcome back to the Old Shed Workshop. I'm Mike. If this is your first time here, I'll invite you to like and subscribe and hit the bell for notifications for future videos. You guys out there that have been liking my videos and subscribing have really helped me to grow my channel. Well, I was in the process of making my latest video, which was a flight for shooters, similar to the bear flights I made in an earlier video. In the process of doing that video, I had occasion to use this gauge. This is an equidistant marking gauge. It's very helpful if you're trying to lay out pegs, trying to lay out repetitive holes in a workpiece that all have to be equidistant. This is a very handy tool to use. It saves tremendous amount of measuring and marking and estimating, approximating. This is the gauge to use to solve all that. I'm going to share with you how I used it in this particular project. And I'll put a link below for this gauge. So in order to lay these out, the first thing I have to do is find center. Measuring this particular workpiece, it measures about 5, and it's not a half, and it's not 9/16. It's somewhere between. Instead of trying to figure that out, what I'm going to do is find the center. You may have seen this in other videos of mine, the way I find a center on a piece that has an odd width. I put the point of my scale on the edge. I come down to a number that's easily divisible by 2. There's 6. I mark it at 3 inches. I'm center. I come down here and I repeat the process. I come down, put the corner of the scale right on the edge of the workpiece. Bring this down to any number that's divisible by 2. If you're up here, you can come down to 7, 8, doesn't matter, whatever you want to do, as long as you can divide it by 2. So from the edge of the workpiece to 6, I mark it at 3. There's my center. And you've also noticed from other videos that I've done, I always put my pencil on the mark and I bring the scale to the pencil mark. That way I don't have any of that wobble when you try to put the pencil against the scale. Bring the scale right to the pencil mark. Okay, here's center. Don't worry about any of these lines because everything's going to be sanded. Now I take my gauge. This is a gauge that enables you to make equidistant marks over the width of a workpiece or the length of a workpiece. The way this works is you put the first edge against the edge of your workpiece, and as you know, I'm trying to lay out 3 equally spaced marks on my workpiece. So in order to get the 3, let's see if I can hit it coming out to the edge of the workpiece. So I have this edge, I have this edge, and there's 1, 2, 3. I'm going to lock it so it doesn't move while I'm trying to mark it. Okay, there's 1, there's 2, and here's 3. Okay, coming in from the edge, I have 3 equally spaced marks on my workpiece. Now, I need to lay out where the shooters are going to fall. So I'm going to extend these lines. Again, put the pencil on the mark. Bring your straight edge to the pencil. Extend your marks. When I laid out my test pieces, I came up with the distance I wanted to have the glasses apart in this orientation. I came up with a measurement And I kept that measurement on my test piece. Now I can go back to my test piece and set my marks. I know I have one in the center. I go from the center of my test setup to my centers of the two shooters. So this will be essentially like this. Okay, I don't want to lose you. Okay, so I have those marks saved on my model. Now I can transfer those to my workpiece. I know that if this one is center, the next two out, so there's my center mark. I know that here and here will be my centers of my two shooters, like that. Okay, so using my gauge, since it's already set up, I'm going to continue to mark these off. Center, 1 and 2. I'm not going to try to continue to do the marks from the gauge and hope to get them exact. Since I have 2 marks now, what I'm going to do is line them up, create a line. So now I know that these 3 are the exact same from here. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. I have 2 marks. With 2 marks, now I have a reference. Put my pencil on my mark, bring the scale to the pencil mark. That lines up, strike your line. Now, this is where the shooters will line up. Okay, centered, centered, centered.